welcome back. So in this video, we're going to start creating our website, and specifically today, I'm going to be creating the first piece using our site origin page builder, which is the slider widget. So the image slider we're going to be creating for our home page. So I'm going to split this video up into two parts. The first part is going to be introducing you to site origin, how to use it, how to get it set up. And then the second part, I'm going to be teaching you how to set up the site origin widgets bundle and also create the basis of our image slider. So why don't we go ahead and explain what Page Builder is. So Site Origin Page Builder is a plugin that allows you to drag and drop different widgets and elements that pre-create things for you. So at the core, this is still pure HTML, but it gives this great interface that allows us to drag and drop and do really easy things with a UI, so you don't have to know any code. So we're going to be using Page Builders throughout the entire course, and it's going to be a great way to get on your feet with WordPress. So why don't we go and actually teach, so I can actually teach you what it is. So first of all, this is our homepage right now. It's looking pretty bland. Now, what I'm imagining for this website is right here, there's going to be an image slider that allows us to view some images with some text over it that says something about this shipping company. So maybe some advertising, so the best shipping company in the world, or something like that. But that's not the point here. I'm trying to introduce site origin. So in the previous section, we edited pages with the WordPress page editor, and we're going to go in the same path as normal. We go to Pages, All Pages, we look for our home page, we're going to click that. And now instead of using this visual editor, which we used last time, there's this new tab, which is called Page Builder. So we're going to click on that, and you can see it brings us to this right here. And this is where you're going to be doing the majority of your work. So we already set up everything in the previous video, full width, page title displaying, all of that has already been set up. But now I'm going to be explaining what this is. So first of all, I need to explain the concept of rows and widgets. So the way that Page Builder works, and the way that most page builders work, is it's set up in a series of rows. So you can create one row, another row. So imagine it sort of like a grid of rectangles, with each rectangle spreading across the entire page. Obviously, we're going to go into grid systems and dividing it later, but for now, just imagine it as a bunch of rectangles stacked up on top of each other that make up your page. Now, in each row, you can add these things called widgets. Now, widgets are the moving pieces or the components that you can add. So things like sliders, text, images, all sorts of other things, those are referred to as widgets. And with Site Origin Page Builder, you can add widgets from a list, and we're going to be doing that just in a second. And you can also choose what widget you want, customize its settings, and do all sorts of things. Now, there's some other features here. Apart from add widget and add row, there's this new feature called layouts. Now, what layouts are is basically a pre-built layout that has already set up your entire page for you. So all of the rectangles, all of the grid has already been set up for you, and you can just fill in the blanks. Now, we're not going to be using layouts in this course because they are quite repetitive and it may not suit for what you want. So we're going to be using our own custom layout, but then there's a few other features here. History is pretty self-explanatory. It's all of your previous moves. You can undo and redo moves based on what you see. Of course, you have the live editor. Now, this is probably the most important part because this allows you to test your changes in browser. So if we go ahead and click that, it gives us the exact same features, except we get a live preview of our website, which is exactly what we need so that we can tinker with it and change it based on what we want. Now, there are some disadvantages to using this, which I'll get into later. But first of all, why don't we get on to creating our image slider? So the first thing you're going to need is a Site Origin Widgets bundle. Now, this comes as a separate plugin, but what I want to get onto here is if we go to add widget, you can see we have a bunch of things here. Now, I already have the Site Origin Widgets bundle installed, so ignore anything with a gear. But you can see we have some default widgets, archives, calendars. These are created by WordPress. And then you have some widgets that are created by Site Origin. So audio, gallery, custom HTML, and images. But there's one there's one widget that we need and that we don't have here, which is called the Site Origin Hero widget. So this allows you to not only create a slider, but also create text on top of it. So you can put text, images, formatting, whatever you want. Now, I was originally going to use the Site Origin slider right here. But the thing is, this Site Origin slider only supports images, and you cannot put anything on top of that, and we really do not want that. On top of that, there's no such thing as size scaling or doing anything to play with it. So we're going to be using the Site Origin Hero. So this is quite an important topic. When you're creating websites and a customer or a client asks for asks for an image slider, you need to know the difference between Site Origin Slider and Site Origin Hero if you end up going to put an image slider. So there we go. Why don't we go ahead and I'll show you how to install the Site Origin Widgets bundle. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up here to plugins. You're going to add new, wait for that to load, and then we're going to search Site Origin Widgets bundle. Widgets bundle. It should come up somewhere here. There we go. Here it is. Site Origin Widgets bundle. So you can just click install and then activate it. And then when you're done with that, you're going to go to plugins and then Site Origin Widgets. So what this will do is give you a bunch of widgets that you can use that may be deactivated by default. So what we're looking for is the hero image. So we're going to go ahead and activate that when we find it. And there we go. Now if we go back, we can set our hero image. But before I move on, you can see we have lots of different widgets and features here. So you can enable whichever ones you want if you want to add something. Pricing tables are very useful, for example, but we're just going to stick with the hero image for now. Now we're going to go back to our site by going to pages, all pages, just like normal, then going to our home page. So now what we're going to do is add our, image slider. So the first thing we need to do is create our first row. So first the thing I want to do is go into the live editor to show you what it looks like. So now we need to create a row or a new rectangle. So we're just going to create a section here or a row that's going to contain our image slider. So it says add a widget, row, or pre-built layout. Now we're going to click row, but you can also click up here. I'm going to click row. And now you can see we're brought up with this quick interface that lets us set up our row. So we're going to be talking about the grid system in just a couple of videos, but ignore this for now. All you have to do is click here and set row layout to 1. So make sure that it takes up 100%. When you're done with that, click insert. And we still don't see anything, and that's because we still need to create our widget. So now we're going to click up here on the gear icon, look for Site Origin Hero right here, and we're going to click it. And it's going to drag right into our row. And we still don't see anything, but that's because we need to configure our slider. So we're going to open that. And now you can see we have this thing called hero frames. So a frame is pretty much a piece of the slider. Well, when it comes to Site Origin widgets and Site Origin sliders. So you can have one frame, multiple frames, as many as you want. So each frame would represent a piece of the slider, and then the slider would move between the frames, just like a frame in a video. So you can put all sorts of things in the frames, but for now we are going to add 3, because we want 3 images in our slider. So I'm going to add 1, 2, and 3. So I already have 3 images downloaded. Again, I've linked them in the resources of this video. You can go ahead and download it by just clicking on the hamburger icon in the top left. But why don't we go ahead and set these up? So what I'm going to do is click on my first frame, and you can see here we have a text editor as well as the ability to choose our background. So under background image, I'm going to click on choose media and then choose the media I want. So let's say I wanted this image, slider image 1. I'm going to click it and then click set media. I'm going to set the image size to full for now. We're going to do resizing and everything like that later. We can change the opacity and do all sorts of stuff, but again, we're going to leave that for later. For now, we just want to set up the basis. So I'm going to click done, and let's just see what that looks like for now. So you can see it looks pretty, small, and to be honest, it doesn't look that good, but once we add the next images, it'll look a lot better. So we're going to click back here and change the rest of our frames. So now we're going to click off this frame, open up our second frame, and then choose the background image as our second image, which I'm just going to set to this one to get some variety. I'm going to click done, see what that looks like. Obviously the sizing is still off, we're just going to wait for that to load. And you notice that I'm not clicking the arrows, and that's because you can't actually interact with anything. So there we go, it looks pretty okay, the image is right. And I know it's because the hero sizing is bad, but again, we're going to be resizing it in the next video. So we're done with the second frame, let's move on to the third one. Just like normal, open it. We're going to choose our background image, and we're going to select this one. Set media, done. Now let's see what that looks like. So we have the first image, moves forward like normal. Just going to wait for that to scroll through. Second image, again, same thing, looks normal. Now we're just going to wait for the third image to roll around, and hopefully it looks okay. And you can see the third image has loaded correctly. And notice how I'm not saying, the sizing is wrong. And I know I've mentioned this a lot, but yes, we are resizing in the next video. But right now, I'm just looking if the images haven't maybe uploaded properly, or so there's some quality loss. Okay, so now that we're done looking at uploading the images, we're going to add some text. So if I click on a frame, for now I'm going to click on the first one, you can see there's actually a text editor here. Now what we're going to do is insert some text that says a little bit about our shipping company. So for now, I'm just going to say the best shipping company on the planet. So I'm going to say the best shipping company on the planet. And then we're going to use our tools here to center it, maybe move it down a few lines. We're going to maybe move it down a few lines. And then we're going to make the size a little bit bigger. So I'm going to set that to maybe header 2, I think is a good size. So after that, I'm going to click done, and let's see what that looks like. And you can see it looks pretty okay for now. And we still have some problems, obviously, but we're going to fix that just in a second. So now why don't we move on to setting the text on the second one. So I'm going to close off this frame, open up the second one, and then here I'm going to write some more text. So here I'm just going to say something maybe about the pricing. So shipping rates starting from $5.99. Shipping rates starting from $5.99. And then we're going to do the same thing, center it, make it header 2. This time I'm going to bold it. It doesn't really make a difference. And then we're going to move it down a few lines. I'm going to click done, see what happens there. Wait for that to move through. See what that does. And there we go. You can see that this looks a lot better. I'm going to go back and bold it in just a second. But we will change the sort of spacing and centering a little bit later. But let's just go for the third one. So just the same process, go to the third. We're going to type out something like, order your products today. And I know this is getting quite repetitive, but practice is the best. The more practice you do, the better you get at it. So I'm going to move that down a few lines again. Actually, maybe I'll move it up one line. And again, this is one thing that you need to get used to, which is tinkering with your product. So that's why I like to use the live editors, because I can see what I'm doing and change it based on what I want. I'm going to go ahead and bold that, move that up a line. And there we go. So now everything is looking pretty okay, for now at least. In the next video, we're going to be resizing the slider so everything looks much better than it is now. Alright, let's move on.